Let's walk you through what God is doing in our ministry. Journey with us to the mission fields. Allow us saturate your mind and hearts. Get up and close with our close to 2,000 missionaries serving in over 1,600 mission fields in 19 countries across the world. Let us share with you the challenges we face and the victories we've made through the power of God. Let us take you inside EMS.
Hello there, welcome to another interesting episode of Inside EMS. My name is Elizabeth Josiah. I'm glad you could join us today. We begin today with a beautiful song titled I Go Do by G Wills. Let's go listen.
You have called me, and I'm ready for you to send me. You have chosen me, and I'm willing for you to use me. Just tell me what you want, I go do. Just tell me where to go, I go. Just tell me what you want, I go do. Just tell me where to go, I go, wherever you send me, Lord. Make you tell me to go, now oh yes. Make you tell me to wait, now oh yes. Make you tell me anything, now oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Make you tell me to give, now oh yes. Make you tell me to take, now oh yes. Make you tell me anything, now oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Anything you want me to do, I'm gonna do. Say, anything you want me to do, I go do. Anything you want me to do, I go do. Hey, Papa, anything you want me to do, I go do. Wherever you want me to go, Lord. Wherever you want me to go, I go go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wherever you want me to go, I go go. Wherever you send me to go, Lord. Wherever you want me to go, I go go. Hey, wherever you want me to go, I go go. Say, you have called me, and I'm ready for you to send me. You have chosen me, Papa, and I'm willing for you to use me. Just tell me what you want, I go do. Just tell me where to go, I go go. Just tell me what you want, I go do. Just tell me where to go, I go go. Wherever you send me, Lord. Make you tell me to wait, now oh yes. Tell me to go, now oh yes. Tell me to wait, now oh yes. Now oh yes. Oh yes. Make you tell me to give, now oh yes. Make you tell me to forgive, oh yes. Tell me anything, now oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Anything you want me to do, I go do. Hey, yes. Anything you want me to do, I go do. Papa, anything you want me to do, I go do. Anything you want, my Lord. Anything you want me to do, I go do. Wherever you want me to go, Lord. Wherever you want me to go, I go go. Hey, yeah. Wherever you want me to go, I go go. Wherever you want me to go, Lord. Wherever you want me to go, I go go. Hey, yeah, Papa. Wherever you want me to go, I go go. Now, listen. Anything you want me to do, Papa, me as you they lead the way, I they follow go. I know they worry for economy, cause my papa they there for me. Hey, though I suffer hungry, but anyway you send I go go. I'll not get time to look back on, now forward ever. I say follow me go, follow me go. Papa God they lead the way. We are going to a better tomorrow. Say, anything you want me to do, I go. Everybody say, anything you want me to do, I go do. Anything you want me to do, Lord. Anything you want me to do, I go do. Anything, Lord. Anything you want me to do, I go do. Wherever you want me to go, Lord. Wherever you want me to go. I go do. Hey, say, anything you want me to do, I go do. Wherever you want me to go, Lord. Wherever you want me to go, I go go. Wherever you want me to go, Lord. Wherever you want me to go, I go go.
When God calls you, would you be ready for Him to send you? That was a beautiful song with a strong message. On today's episode, we kickstart with Equa Headquarters Church, Jos Plateau State. The church was established in 1993 and has for many years supported missions. Now let's go hear from Elder Jewel Botson, the mission elder, Equa Headquarters Church, Jos.
Okay, thank you. My name is Elder Jewel Botson. I am the missions elder of Equa Headquarters Church, Jos. Equa Headquarters Church came into being around 1993. We started the church here, and our first pioneer pastor was Reverend Onesimus Sule of blessed memory. But at that time, it was just a formative stage of the church, so we didn't really pick up much about EMS, and more about the, the missions. Then, after that, we had Reverend Dr. Musa Asake too of blessed memory, who equally joined. After Reverend Dr. Musa Asake, we had Reverend Adamu Maga, who became the third pastor of the church. Then we had Reverend Jeremiah Buboda took over from Reverend Maga. And then we had Reverend Noel Bature, Tali Bature, who took over from Reverend Buboda. And then we had Reverend Dr. James Ibul, who came into and took over from Reverend Tali. And then the present pastor we have now, Reverend Dr. Bawa Garba Andu. So the church has, over the years, has almost about 7 successive pastors that have led this local ministry. And interestingly now, we had the first associate pastor ever, which we have as Pastor Ebenezer Obioma. This church has actually lived for the past 30 years. By next year, we'll be 30. And then we are just trusting God to have a mega celebration, which will really remind us of where we started from. The church started with the need when people around the headquarter community could have a place of worship. So it was largely even the SIM that were here around that were actually worshiping here. And the good thing about Equa Headquarters Church is it is a church that is cosmopolitan, so to really speak, because it have both locals, both even national and even international membership. So it is a church that cuts across borders. It does not really necessarily mean to say this is for a particular location. It is a church that is so peculiar where a lot of its membership are not within the church premises, are not even within the church surroundings. Some had to travel quite some distances to get to this place. Particularly me, I drive over 30 minutes to get to this church. But then I consider this place as a family for me. The church started supporting missions. That which I can remember, it started during Reverend Dr. Musa Asake. Then at that time we had a missionary in his station called Wurwa. Wurwa is in Bauchi, under Toro DCC. And so we had the first missionary there. As such, we started then, but we were actually sponsoring their missionary. Then we had some kind of partnership with them through prayer, and then we just have to visit, not really taking full responsibility of those ones. We had one in Niger, in Niger Republic. So then after Asake left, when Maga came, he maintained that same number. Just the one person that was full of our responsibility, the others were just like through partnership. Some individuals could make some few contributions to aid in his own ministry. And so then I remembered during Reverend Jeremiah Buboda, we had to support the other missionary in Niger Republic with a motorbike. And then we took it to Maradi, where it was handed over to him at the borders there. and then we were still maintaining the one at Burwa. So when it got to Reverend Ibul's time, we had 2 missionaries already on ground. And then the church saw the need for us to expand, because the church is actually, to a large extent, I can say that Equa Headquarters Church is actually mission-minded. Our desire here is that we should be able to really contribute our quota in reaching out to even the unreached. So we had 2 missionaries before Reverend Dr. Ibul, but when he came, our number moved to 5. So we had some mission fields like in the Wurwa, we maintained Wurwa. Then at some point we moved to a mission station at Dogomaje. We had another station at Katonkasa. We have another one at what's the name of this place? Some of all these names are actually so long for one to get. So we had Dogomaje, we have Katonkasa, we have Wurwa. I think those were the stations that we had. Then at the moment, some of even the stations that we have actually covered, at the moment we are actually at Sanuda Zua. We had 1 missionary at Sanuda Zua now. We have one, his name is Paris in Droma. Paris in Droma is in Chad DCC. We have one in City Ministries of Equa. We have one in Bari. Bari is under Tangali DCC. Then we have one at Show. Show is under Goal DCC. So these are 5 missionaries that we have now. Reverend Tanko is at Show. Pastor Ishaku Danagwai is at City Ministries. We have Pastor Stephen May Samari is at Sanuda Zua. Then we have Pastor Hosea Bahago is at Bari Tangali DCC. Then we have which one have I missed? Then we have Paris in Droma, who is actually at Chad DCC. So altogether, the church is actually supporting 5 missionaries. Now, those missionaries are at their various stations. We always keep tap with them to know the challenges. We always have some prayer requests. Then as a church, we have a missions committee, which is being headed by the missions elder. We meet first week of every month, first Wednesday to be so precise of every month. Then we meet together and then we pray for our missionaries. And we look out for how we can be able to maybe visit, plan some kind of outreaches. At the moment we have planned one. We are going to Bari on the 29th of January 2023, where we shall be spending time together. That is going to be a complete whole package where we intend to take even the gospel. Then we have to do a medical outreach to Bari. From the information we have from our missionary there, he said he is the only one with his family that attends church, but he's surrounded by a lot of the Muslim community. So we felt it necessary for us to visit and see how we can be able to encourage and strengthen the spread of the gospel in that area. Aside that, the church has actually done something that we decide to always have a mission conference, which we do once in 2 years, actually. What we do with the mission conference is that we invite our missionaries from all their stations to come in here. They will come together with their wives, then they will give us like their own report card of telling us the challenges they have to the hearing of the church who are actually sponsoring this. So they come around, we spend some time together, we listen to them for the whole weekend. They come on Friday, then we have fellowship on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we did this last year, and that's 2021, and then we desire to do it next year again, where we'll be housing all of them. Then we can be able to meet together and see how best we can be able to do that. And I can tell you, during that last experience, a lot of members donated clothing, food stuff, and so when they came, based on their needs, even including Bibles, because one came and said they desire to have some Hausa Bibles for the membership. So immediately some of the members gave out willingly. And they called me, they handed over those things to me, and I handed them over back to them for delivery. Yeah, funding has actually been a very major challenge, if you ask me, because, for instance, before the Golden Supporter issue of EMS came, we've been struggling to see that each missionary is paid a stipend of 20,000 naira monthly. So what the church does primarily is for us to raise 100,000 monthly, putting us at about 1.2 million annually for us to pay. So it has actually not been too easy keeping to that. But because once we have employed someone, this is more or less an employment responsibility on us. So no matter how terrible it is, we'll have to look for ways around to make sure that we make up the 100,000 to remit to EMS on a monthly basis. Otherwise, our missionaries out there in the field will not be able to really get what it is expected or what is due them at the end of the month. So it has been a challenge at times where you have to go like a month or two, particularly with these austerity measures the country is going through. It's really not been so easy. At times we have to look out for individuals, to speak to them, to share some of our burdens, to see how we can do, just to make sure that we keep to this number. When I took over the past 2 years as the missions elder, my desire was that, okay, what we'll do is if we can increase the number. And then, since then, Nigeria has been going through a lot, that we cannot even concentrate to say we want to increase the number. And then the golden supporter thing came again, which is more or less like more of even additional responsibility on even the same people that we are supporting these 5 people. So we have to find a way of balancing it. So instead of us to increase and then stagger the payments, it's better we maintain this and see how we can grow our net worth. Then perhaps we can push further to see how we meet up with those people. You can say that again. God's faithfulness can just never be overemphasized here, because we have seen his hand, particularly this year, even when we were actually struggling to see with finances, like I said. Honestly, you get to a point where if you just don't even sit up well, some of the responsibilities of the church were actually almost going down. But then God showed his faith. God showed his face for us. He always comes true, for us. I know that very well in this church. One good thing that I can say is that we might lack funds for anything, but not for EMS. Each time we stand on the pulpit and share with people that this is our challenge, this is what we need, you always see money comes in. You see different agencies making contributions towards even the EMS. You see individuals sending in money. They will tack it on the envelope, EMS, or maybe missions. So when it comes, we know where we are supposed to tailor it to. Then all these funds, they were just coming. However, one of the major challenges we have, which we can actually plead to ECWA, is that how I wish the money collected for EMS should be completely remitted to EMS, not to be charged 25% on it. But I think I was told the last time that 25% is being charged. So if you look at 25% being charged of the 1.2, that is even just about 300,000. Again, if it is not a church that maybe God has really been there with us, it's like paying for another 3 months or additional one missionary that we could have added to our number. So that has just been the challenge here and there that we have been facing. I have actually learned over the time that if you always want to give excuses, you have 1,001 of them to give. But if you really want to do something and you are determined, you work at it. If you know that you have a project to do ahead of you, there is a way you watch your own expenses, particularly when you have actually prioritized and it has become an issue of priority. It becomes a little bit easy for you to succeed than when it is not a priority. If it is not a priority, you feel, I think the EMS can wait. But if it is a priority, you can actually say something can wait, but EMS can actually continue. Suffice it to say, if you have once visited EMS fields, I am telling you, one of even the mission field that I actually missed the name earlier was Gagarabami, because we have that Gagarabami, Dogomaji. Going out for these mission fields, you will just be left with, God, how are these people surviving here? The last time I went to Sanudezua, way down around Kaduna Axis, at some point, we lost network on our phones. There was no good route. There was no school around. I didn't see a motor park, neither did I see a market. And people are living in there. And this is where somebody is living with his family, doing God's work. And then the church, we should always look at it that even though all credit goes to ECWA for what they are doing, because if we are to compare ourselves with some other churches, even around us, we will now even see that the mission part of ECWA is really progressing. We are doing a lot. But that doesn't mean that we will just rest on our we do more. So for churches that have not picked up this, I am actually encouraging us today that if we do this for the sake of the gospel, we will not lack anything. If we can support the missions to reach the hinterlands, to reach out to the unreached, then perhaps we can be able to make up that difference. How would you feel when you actually return home after this life's journey? Then God say he doesn't know you because you've not done anything. I sent you to, in fact, I actually sent you to the earth. You were there for you to impact the world, and then your presence wasn't really felt. I think if there's anything we really need to do now, it's for us to support the work of the missions, because a lot of souls are perishing. And then it's a clear opportunity, particularly with these Islamic terrorists that are everywhere. The need to support the mission can never be better than now. First of all, the Bible really says, go ye into the world and evangelize. He didn't really say a pastor should go. It's our responsibility, all of us. And that is why the same scripture says, for some we are actually called to be teachers, prophets, apostles, and pastors, and all of that. If all of us should bring our training, our disciplines, then we can reach out to others. It's not necessary that it must be a pastor. Let me tell you one thing. Today I'm actually a pastor by training, but again I was actually even a banker by training. I had all these backgrounds, but this does not limit me to saying it must actually be money issues. It's all about the souls. But then if it is even about the money issues, because you can never still do missions without money, I will now actually tell people that the 1-2 naira that we save can go a long way. Just like you said, sacrificing even a meal for the sake of the gospel, it's a wow. For instance, you actually have a team of friends where all of you let's take 10 for just a number. Maybe you are 10 as colleagues in the office or in the school or maybe something. It's not a big deal for you to really sacrifice a meal for a week of just 500 naira. So if 10 of you could sacrifice that, you have 5,000 naira weekly. So the 10 of you can actually sponsor a missionary. Because when you have 5,000 every week, you have 20,000 per month, you have one missionary. So 10 of you, carelessly by sacrificing one meal in a week, you have a missionary out there in the field. And the missionary is not only one missionary, it is a missionary together with his family who is really doing a lot there. When he goes to his knees and he prays, you know what that means. You know what God will do there. And it is because you sacrifice your meal. Someone may say, I don't know how to preach. Of course, you might not know how to even preach, or maybe pray like Paul, and even just maybe Silas. But you have something that you can give. We can never all say we don't have anything to give. We do have. We do have. So today I'm actually encouraging the whole world to see the need for us to partner with EMS in our little way that it is possible. And then little is much when God is in it. If we can sacrifice a meal which will never take our life, then get a cluster of friends, just a few cluster of friends, of course we can be able to hit our own distant target. And then we'll have more missionaries because the field is really big and then the laborers are few. Absolutely, EMS is doing beautifully well. We are proud of the work that EMS is doing. We are proud of even the leadership and all the staff, management and staff. You are just doing great, and we pray that God will continue to give you more insight, particularly with even the introduction of this supporters forum. It's just a wonderful idea. And I love the idea when I was discussing with your director, and he said, if we can get 1 million people to key in, I think it's a gradual process. The response has been a little bit slow. Maybe I was actually thinking that since ECWA is actually a mission-minded church, so to really speak, I was of the opinion that if we can encourage the generality of ECWA staff, to see the need for them to pick up at least one supporter, to pick up a form, even if it's just for one person, not for him, his wife, or maybe the spouse. If they can pick one supporter as a family for ECWA staff alone, I'm not sure ECWA has less than 500,000 staff. If we do this, we have gone halfway, and then we can achieve the 1,000 threshold, where we can have over 5 billion naira to run EMS in a year. So I am actually of the opinion that if you can go to all ECWA formations, all ECWA offices, all ECWA DCCs, all ECWA that we know, that someone works under ECWA, that ECWA pays his salary, and then he can sacrifice 5,000 naira for us per annum, maybe being deducted from source and channel to EMS. EMS will have more than enough money to run its own office. It has been my thought. I wish I could have it. Thank God for this kind of forum where I can be able to suggest this. If we can have all this, even if ECWA has just 200,000 staff, they have taken over 20% of their worries, then we are getting closer to that place. Then when the followers actually see that, look, this is what the church is doing, this is what the staff of ECWA are doing, I think they will actually be encouraged for them to do more. Then perhaps we can reach our target in no distant time. But however, EMS is doing well. We are proud of what you are doing, and we pray that God is going to keep you, and God is going to give you more insight for you to achieve more. Yes, I agree that the crisis has ravaged a lot of us. I've sent some people homeless. That is actually so dangerous. Some people have actually lost hope in even Christ. I'm calling upon them today to say this is an opportunity. Instead of us losing hope, we should look out for the greener side of this trouble that we're actually facing, because there are opportunities. For instance, the expansion that Bukuru DCC is actually having today is as a result of the migration, the urban migration to all those areas where it is said to be like a troubled area. The way churches are springing up within Bukuru DCC, it's such that it now shows you that it is an aftermath of since the 2001 attack in the city of Jos. It has actually opened up those other areas. They saw the need. They opened urban, churches. And then Jos 2 had actually enjoyed some more of that. Like the Unity Church we have around here, they were actually at Gangare here. Today they have moved to even this place. If they had not seen the vision ahead of them, they could have said, oh, Gangare has actually been taken over by all these people, so we should actually go home. We don't actually have anything to do. But they saw the opportunity, they saw the need. I want to call upon the church today, Church Universal, that the best time for us to save this whole world, it is now. And it is with the message of the gospel. If we do not take this message out, we have not been able to start anything. So that means the end in sight is actually far away from us. So we have to start something now. Reach out to these people, everybody that we see around. Today, while I was actually having devotion with my own distant family, I said, I am actually going to give us a minute today. All of us should look around and see who among the cluster of our friends do we think is so difficult that we cannot reach out with even that same gospel. I said, I'm actually going to give us 1 minute. I started from my son, who is 16. He mentioned one boy who is actually his own distant classmate, a Muslim. I said, that is the boy we are going to work with you to make sure we actually reach out to him. I asked my wife, she mentioned one Sally in her office. Said, that guy is too fanatical. I said, that is your mission field. And then I equally mentioned mine. So if we sit down together, all of us, and look out for those people that we are perhaps written them off, believing that these people cannot hear the gospel, they cannot accept, then that is when we have started the work of even the missions. So the mission starts with us, without even money, but it starts with our interpersonal relationship. People seeing Christ in us. So that once somebody sees me, he sees Christ. Once somebody sees me, he sees the Bible that he has never read. Then of course, he will not be encouraged for him to get into the fold. So we have a lot of work to do, and this is the time for us to do it. Let us not be discouraged. Thank you so very much, Missions Committee of ECWA Headquarters Church, for your continuous giving over the years. You have proven that you are partners in this ministry, and I am pretty sure that God is proud of your contributions and your own assistance. We appreciate you. Some are actually elderly. The mothers are there with us. Despite their age, they are always at the forefront each time we are going out to all these mission fields. Particularly, a special mention is even to the medical committee of ECWA Headquarters Church, who always sacrifice to go with us on these outreaches so that they can actually play their role as even the medical team of this. We appreciate all of you. Thank you, everyone in ECWA Headquarters Church. Thank you for our present and even past pastors. Thank you for the present and past elders. Thank you for the entire leadership. We are truly grateful. No amount of words expression can convey the depth of our gratitude to match up with your kindness and thoughtfulness that you have actually shown over the years. But all I ask is that God, who sees all that you have done, will reward you abundantly.
May God continually reward the ECWA Headquarters Church for her immense support toward EMS. We'll take a short break now. Stay with us.
Looking through his word from Genesis to Revelation, the Master seeks not only to love but be loved. He seeks not only to inform and perform his love, but to transform those who are ready to love him. His word has clearly shown that we cannot love him until we know him. This is an invitation to know his word, to know his world, and to know his work. He's opened the door of salvation unto us, but he's done even more. The opening of this window. I was afraid to look through the 1040 window, but when I did, he was glad I never hid. What I saw was heartbreaking because I never knew too many people could be found wasting. But he said to me, it is not so much of their lostness that matters. It's about creating an access to the gospel. I couldn't wait to give him my permission to be part of his global vision. But then I sought counsel from my littleness and said to him, I am young and always broke. I do not have enough to send to these people. But he said to me, it is not the amount giving that matters. It is about developing an attitude of sacrifice. Knowing this, I said to him, Lord, I hold up my wallet with hands that are wisely open. Use it. He again began speaking. Know these people. Do not be people blind. I have brought these people who are unaware of me to your doorsteps. Then I remembered Aisha, who schools in my neighborhood, and the Mesuya that sells on the next street. His words made me see I was left to open up my life to these people, putting it on the line as he once did for me, and welcoming them with open arms into his kingdom. I will go to these people, I said, but I have not received a special call from you. This time, he smiled and asked, are you willing and available? Even though I'm just a college student, I know of some friends who would love to join me. Should I get them to come along? Then he said to me, anyone can mobilize, with or without being formally trained. Taking his leave, he turned, smiled and said to me, these are my last words to you. Go into the world and make friends of all people groups, not forgetting the thumb, the tribal, the Hindu, the unreligious, the Muslim and the Buddhist. Translating the love you've received into their hearts, making them disciples, teaching them all that I've commanded you, and welcoming them with open arms into my kingdom. For I am with you always. So go, explore. This is God's word. This is God's world. This is God's work. Missions is God's heart.
Welcome back from the break. You're watching Inside EMS on Equa TV International. The next supporters of Mission Today is a special group of individuals under Equa Anglo-Jos. They started supporting EMS missionaries in 1998. That is 23 years and counting. Despite all the challenges they face, they hold on to their pledge of supporting missions. Let's hear more about this group of people and its support towards mission from Engineer Didi Fantur.
I am Dom Jules Darius Fantur. I was born 1948 and I born in the Cockton family. So up to 1988, I've been with the Cockton family. And towards the end of 1988, my wife introduced me to Equa Anglo-Jos, because that was the church she was attending while I was studying, and it was the nearest church to her. So after I came back, I felt we should just go ahead, continue with Equa Anglo-Jos. That was 1988. And since then, we've been there. Around 1990, early 90s, Anglo-Jos gave birth to Good News Church. I was there. And many other churches that I think I remember of, like Dadinkoa, LCB, was given birth to by Equa Anglo-Jos, and many other churches. prayer houses, and then metamorphosed into LCBs. I think Anglo just became LCC in 1997 or thereabout, while I was still there. But before then, I became the treasurer of EQUA, Anglo Jos, and I was there up to 6 years. And then Anglo Jos established a private school, and I was also a member of the school management committee, and I was in charge of finance. I held that for 7 years before I was called to Bukuru DCC as a treasurer. So, I think in 1996, a group came up with EMS Group Anglo Jos. Then I wasn't aware of, not until one Baba Ben came to me and said, "How often do you go out to evangelize?" I said, "Well, not so often, other than the one time that is applicable to everybody." He said, "Okay, but I would have loved to, but then time has been my problem." So he said, "Well, if you are really, if you really want to do what the Lord Jesus has mandated us to do, and you don't have the time to do it yourself, why not pay someone to do it for you?" I said, "Okay, that's a good one. Who do you have in mind?" He said, "Well, a group has been set up, and if I like, I can join that group." So I agreed and joined the group, and we kept on contributing. I was 19, from 1990, I started that in 1998. And since then, I've been a member of this group, EMS Group Anglo Jos. In the year 2010, during our crisis, our leader, Baba Deben, was killed. And so I took up the challenge. And I was the person in charge. So I continued with that. And after some years, I asked for someone to take over the leadership while I concentrate more on the financial aspect. So Mama Hawadogari took over as the leader, and she's still the current leader. When they started with one missionary, and not too long, we added the second missionary. So we have two of them, and we are, by the grace of God, we are trying, and we've never failed to support or to give our yearly contribution to or support. And on top of the support, we also contribute medical medical care on top of the support. So the two we given out, I think 500,000 or so. EMS should try and assist where there are no supporters. They should try to assist, pending when we get people who would come up to support. The challenges are normally from our members, mainly our members, because some of them are civil servants, some are retirees, some are widows. So, you know, it's not easy, especially like when civil servants are not paid their dues. We normally have problems, we have challenges. Like widows, well, they try to do their best before we get something from them. And like retirees also, the same. If they don't get their pension, we hardly make it too. But all the same, the Lord has been gracious to us. We've never failed to support our EMS, our two EMS pastors. Like assistance somehow. We give assistance once a while, once a year. Notwithstanding, I'm saying if a group can come out in a church and support two missionaries, I think every church should be able to support at least one member. One missionary. We are like I told you in Shandam, GCC. We have about 29 missionaries and only 5 supporters, including the churches. So that is what we're working on, trying to go around and get people who will support or who will assist. I've just gone on board anyway. We had our first meeting, our first supporters forum. I couldn't even attend when this thing happened to me. So it is my candid advice that all churches should make this mandatory. Support EMS or mission. Support the mission, because that's what Christ left for us to do. Support the mission. Go out and evangelize. If we don't have fruits, when he returns, what are we going to say? What are we going to tell him? So let's bear fruits. Let's try and bear fruits, as many as possible. And Christ will be happy. There are so many needs in the mission field. There are so many needs in the mission field. For instance, if you go to remote areas, you would need, these people will need water to drink. Some will need health care. Some will need electricity, and so on. So whatever you find yourself in as a professional, extend it to the work of mission. It is very, very important to do that. If Well, if like let's say in the far north, we had a meeting with uh, a dinner with the EMS director, and he said they needed a lot of support in various fields in the far north. So he would seek the indulgence of those who will be able to assist them. If you cannot go there and do your own, apply your own professionalism, well, give out cash. Assist in any form to make the work go. So I would advise that professionals should ensure or should try to assist. They try to assist in mission fields as well.
It's our duty to always ensure that the work of God thrives in our time, and we can make that happen by supporting those at the forefront. Support a missionary today. We've come to the end of today's episode. Thank you for watching. But before I go, I'd like to remind you that we're open to featuring your church on this special edition if your local church is a supporter of EMS missionaries. Remember to catch up on our previous episode on our YouTube channel at EMS of Ekwa. Have a great week ahead.
Here is the master's call. Go ye into the world. There's always something you can do that is precious in His eyes. We are the righteousness of Christ. Since we believe in Him, we will preach the gospel in season and out of season. We go in faith, prayer, and action. This is the Father's heart, that everyone will be saved. The love He has shown is the love we will show to the world in every way. It's time to go, it's time to go, it's time to go in faith, prayer, and action. It's time to go, it's time to go, it's time to go in faith, prayer, and action. Young and old, whoever you are, this is a call on every one of us. You can give your widow's mite to support the work of the kingdom. Shine the light in everything you do. We are the righteousness of Christ. Since we believe in Him, we will preach the gospel in season and out of season. We go in faith, prayer, and action. This is the Father's heart, that everyone will be saved. The love He has shown is the love we will show to the world in every way. It's time to go, it's time to go, it's time to go, it's time to go in faith, prayer, and action. It's time to go, it's time to go. master's call. Go ye into the world. There's always something you can do that is precious in His eyes.